Hello again, everyone. Welcome back to Planescape Torment. Alright, let's go ahead and start talking to other people around here that we have not talked to yet. I want to talk to the lecturers and then see if we can find those, whatchamacallits.
Alright.
There's Jumble Murder Sense. Still not sure what I need to do with him yet. Alright, let's go talk to Death's Advocate here. Sigilians, welcome. Please take your seats and listen to the darks of which I speak. Darks, give me a break. We're really not going to listen to this rattletrap, are we? Come on, let's go find some sensate chits that have never had the pleasurous sensation of tasting the fiery passion of a skull's lips. He waggles eyebrows in anticipation. Quiet down, Mort. We're staying. For a while, at least. He begins speaking with a somber tone. Death, it is what awaits you at the end of life's journey. He coughs slightly and then raises his eyebrows dramatically, waving his hands at the same time. Death is not an end, but a beginning. Mort whispers. Beginning of more suffering. Nod to Mort quietly. Mort, quiet down. Yeah, I'm gonna nod to Morton quietly. For when you die, you shall not cease to exist. No, far from it. The outer planes shall welcome you to their breasts. There, a new life, one such as you have never known, awaits you there. Why, you could become one with Laugzed's plane of rotting. Or rotting plane, whatever the name is, I forget. It would be great. That would be... Actually, never mind. It's awful. Forget I said anything. I'm done here. Mort whispers, that's for sure. Yeah, that's... You shall cast away the tattered cloak of this life and become one of the faithful, a petitioner. As a petitioner on this outer plane, your life's journey shall truly begin. If you have been a goodly sort of gentleman... What about women? Shut up, you! Damn it. Steadfast in charity and goodwill toward your fellow bloods, perhaps the light-blanketed slopes of Mount Celestia shall house you when you die. Your spirit shall pass on to this place, dwelling as a petitioner in the beauty of golden mornings, a soft sunlight that caresses. He sighs dreamily. Mort whispers, and eternal boredom. I'm going to ignore Mort on this one. I think Mount Celestia could be fun for eternity. Perhaps you lived your life to betray others and get ahead, giving lies instead of truths, backstabbing others, all to accomplish your own goals. Cold, blood-red carcery, the plane where all turncoats fall when they pass on, shall be the cage that imprisons you. As a petitioner on this plane, you shall live a life of treachery and treacheries, of lies and lying, knowing a life without trust. You know, unless you just happen to be guilt by association because of the Titans or something like that. You know, I mean, some of those Titans weren't actually so bad that they got... And they're still in prison there, but... Well, moving on. Mort whispers, looks like we know where we are both going to end up when we die. Not there. He hunches over, his eyes dart back and forth. And perhaps you have lived a life of bloodthirsty evil, contemptuous of your fellow man, laying others low and doing as you pleased without a care for who or what you hurt. Then it is perhaps one of the lower planes. Carcery is one of the lower planes. Shut up, you! I'm talking! Damn it. So rude. Bator, or the chaotic swirling layers of the abyss. I think you're mixing up the chaotic swirling of Limbo with the abyss. Shut up, you! Damn it. That shall welcome you, evil to the core, are the spirits that come to this plane, and most are doomed to mindless cruelty and suffering, or servitude in the dreaded, he whispers dramatically, blood war. Mort whispers, and that's if you're lucky. Well, yeah, I don't know. I mean, you could always work your way up through that and then become a demon prince and then actually achieve godhood. Worked for Koschei. No matter where you go, know this, you shall be embarking on a new life. A new life, my Sigilians. So here, slit your wrists right now. What? Mort whispers, and that's supposed to be an incentive? We get to do this all again? Gee, I can't wait to be a floating skull all over again. Whee! Pike him, what a tard. Spoken just like someone who hasn't died before, huh? Yeah, let's nod to Mort quietly. I mean, hey, you know, Mort, someone could always resurrect you. You shall be able to start anew without the burden of memory or your past life, your sole goal, if you will. He smiles at his own humor. Ah, and me without my tomatoes. Your sole goal, if you will, is to merge with this new plane that you are on, becoming one with the ideals and the very substance of the plane itself. Like especially the rotting plane of Laugzed. Let's keep listening. You shall be one of the inhabitants, the petitioners on this plane, or ideally one of the building blocks upon which the plane is built. It is the goal of all petitioners. To accomplish this goal, He claps his hands together for emphasis. Oh, my lord! He's using the Twitter clap emojis. Oh, kill him. Kill him. You must hold to your ideals. Mort whispers. This is one big steaming load. Yeah, that's accurate. Your ideals, good or evil, law or chaos, or somewhere in between. As you approach the alignment of the plane, your journey will end as you become part of the plane itself. 'Tis a glorious existence, my Sigilians. And that is what awaits you after death, my audience. Have a care as to how you live your life, but know that it is not oblivion that awaits you after this life. Mort says aloud, What wash? The speaker's head turns to face Mort, frowning slightly. He leans out, trying to see who spoke. A question? A question from one of the living, perhaps? Not exactly. Mort ducks down below the lecturer's field of view, then turns to you and whispers, Go ahead, Chief. Tell him the dark of it. Yes, I have a question. He indicates for you to continue. What's a petitioner? Can a petitioner die? Why do petitioners lose their memories? What determines which plane you go to when you die? What if someone can't die? Explain alignment to me. The dustmen say that this life is where we end up when we die. Prove what you say is true. Tell me about the Blood War. I want to ask you about one of the planes you mentioned. Never mind, actually, no question. Well, let's go through them all. You know, hey, we have an opportunity to interrogate the speaker, so why not? What's a petitioner? A petitioner is what you become when you arrive on this new plane after you have died. As a petitioner, you forsake memory and past life, focusing solely on your new one. And the goal of this new one is... He waits for the response from you with a smile. Answer your own question. Don't presume to test me. I like that. Remain in ignorance, then. I had another question. Alright, let's see what he says to merge with the plane. Very good! It looks as if some of my words actually have sunk into that skull of yours. The audience chuckles. I want to take a slight issue. It's not just to merge with the plane. In fact, it's more often that you will be merging with the deity itself and their realm. So, for example, if you were a worshipper of Laugzed, yes, you would merge with the plane, but that's because you were a worshipper of him. If you were perhaps a worshipper of, say, Nephthys, you would merge with her realm, not the plane itself, or maybe even her. I'd have to go check my books again. So, you're slightly incorrect on your assertion here, Mr. Death's Advocate. Shut up, you! Damn it! I had another question. Can a petitioner die? He looks slightly uncomfortable at this. Well, yes. How? He looks a little more uncomfortable. Well, through any of the normal means, really. Great, another death. Sign me up. There's laughter from the audience. The speaker looks angry. What happens when they die? He looks a little more uncomfortable. Well, you merge with the plane. What if the petitioner dies on a plane other than their home plane? He looks very uncomfortable. Well, then that is the end of life there. But no petitioner wants to leave their home plane, friend. He looks around, realizing he is in a trap. To do so would, be oblivion, should they die, really. I had another question. Why do petitioners lose their memories? He raises an eyebrow. Many pardons, what? I said, why do petitioners lose their memories when they die? He looks uncomfortable. Well, you know, who wishes to be burdened with such things as memories? The audience murmurs. I do. The speaker smirks. Looking at you, sir, I cannot begin to wonder why. The audience chuckles. So why do they lose their memories? He frowns, begins to say something, then stops. After a moment he continues, choosing his words carefully. I imagine that it is because you must start afresh, your petitioner's soul pure when you arrive on your new plane. Also, I want to take slight issue with this. They don't always lose their memories. It depends on whether they, depends on the deity that they worship and certain situations, and sometimes there are things that stick through from one life to the next. And why should you have to do that when all your life experiences have determined what plane you end up on? That's no answer. That's awful, like a sick joke. I'm going for this one. He looks very uncomfortable. Well, He pauses. I don't know. That's no answer. He becomes slightly angry. Do you have a better answer, my friend? Perhaps one you can share? The audience turns to face you. I don't remember where or when, but I seem to recall having heard that memories drift on the astral plane as memory cores. I probably read it in the astral plane. I have that Planescape book lying around somewhere. An audience member shouts out, He's right! The speaker turns to face the audience member. Well, perhaps he is. Well, then, the question becomes, is a lifetime of memories more important from the living than living life again? Truth, yes it is. Truth, no. I don't know. Yes it is, he says angrily. Then it's simple enough. Don't die, friend. The audience chuckles. That's kind of been my plan for a while now. I had another question. What determines which plane you go to when you die? Your alignment, of course. Good people are destined for the upper planes, and bad people are cast into the lower planes. He rolls his eyes, clasping his hands to his heart dramatically. May the powers have mercy on their souls. Where do neutral people go? He raises an eyebrow. An excellent question, excellent. He yearns. Yearns to the audience. Yearns. That's a new word. I think someone got a little bit backspace happy there. Raising a finger. The answer is this. A spirit that has lived a life of complete neutrality, with no leanings towards good or evil. What about law or chaos? That too, shut up you! Damn it. Becomes a petitioner on the Outlands, the lands that encircle Sigil. They are destined for no plane except the lands that lies right outside our sky, and of which the spire is a part. I had another question. Can I go to Semuania's bog? I want to talk to him for what? No! Shut up! Damn it. What if someone can't die? He laughs. Nonsense! Everyone dies, friend. Even gods die. But suppose that someone can't die. I can't die. Yeah, but suppose that someone can't die. Well then, based on what I've said, he would never reach the outer planes and never become a petitioner. I can't die. Oh, truly, look everyone, a rare treat. One of the great immortals has graced us with his presence. I'm not from my star, shut up you. Greetings, oh immortal. The audience laughs. I can prove it. Oh, do. There is more laughter from the audience. What sport! Take heed, my audience. I think that we shall have a rare display of my lecture today. Come up here, O immortal, and we shall see who is right and who is dead. Kill yourself and get back up. The speaker turns white at this, taking a step back. By the powers! I think it's only fair that you prove your point now. The audience watches in morbid fascination. Well now, go on, die. Here, now. Prove your words to be true. Embrace your life as a petitioner. I feel like this could be leading me towards evil here. He gulps. Now, he offers weakly. I must confess that I'm not quite ready to depart this life just yet. So this great new life on the outer planes may not be all it's supposed to be. That's what I thought, you pompous, blustery charlatan. I'm not going to kill him. I'm not going to make a motion. I'll go with this. The speaker is aware of his hypocrisy, but is afraid of the alternative. Perhaps not. He glances quickly at the audience. Well, certainly not now. As I thought. I have another question. Explain alignment to me. Forgive me if I did not explain myself for all my listeners. I was not used to explaining game mechanics to you. Alignment is your spiritual leanings, good or evil, law or chaos, or neutrality. Shut up! Damn it. Stop being so mean. I'm just trying to be helpful. Alignment is the way you behave, and it is of consequence. The way you approach life decides your destination when you die. I had another question. The Dustmen say that this life is where we end up when we die. The speaker chuckles derisively. Some members of the audience chuckle as well. There are countless petitioners, friend, Dustmen among them, who would disagree with Dustman philosophy. I had another question. Tell me about the Blood War. Have you not heard of this, O clueless one, the war between the Beta Zoo and the Tanari? I do not have the centuries it would take to describe this conflict. It's pretty easy to describe the conflict, actually. I didn't ask you to describe every historical event in it. Seek out another, for this is not what this lecture is about. Alright, I have another question. I wanted to ask about one of the planes you mentioned. Oh, which? The Abyss. A plane of over 600 layers of festering chaos and evil, home to the fiendish Tanari, he gestures dramatically. But you should seek out someone more knowledgeable on the planes than I. Bator. 9 regimented planes of lawful evil, he chuckles and gestures dramatically, home of the fiendish Beta Zoo. Sign a contract with them and you'll be wrapped in their chains of intrigue for life, he smiles. But you should seek out someone more knowledgeable on the planes than I. Carcery. The prison plane, cold, brutal, and washed with red. Betrayers and liars make their home there. It is said that the Titans are imprisoned there when they were hurled from Olympus, he gestures dramatically. But you should seek out someone more knowledgeable on the planes than I. Yes, I knew about that. I mentioned that myself, actually. You're just cribbing from me, aren't you? Mount Celestia. Mount Celestia, plane of eternal good and faith. He clasps his hands together in prayer. Where divas fly the sky, archons rule with honor and nobility, the very model of goodness. And Bahamut has a palace that spans 4 of the planes, but, you know, that's beside the point. But you should seek out someone more knowledgeable on the planes than I. Alright, I have no more questions. If there are no more questions, get ready to leave. He looks eager to wrap things up. Then I shall end this session. I shall continue to lecture here at the hall, so tell all your friends. Stop listening, leave. Alrighty then. Was there one in here? The 3 planes aligned. What do you got going on? Thin and sharp-featured, his yellow skin covered with tattoos, this man looks over the room and its inhabitants with cold, black eyes. He appears to be giving a lecture. Let's stay for the lecture. I am known as 3 Planes Aligned, a Githzerai scholar. If you are here for my lecture, it begins in a few moments. Excuse me, before you get to that, can I talk to you about the Pirates of Gith? No, I hate them! They're Gith-Yankee, but they exist on the Prime Material Plane. Mort sighs loudly. Come on, Chief. Are we really going to stay for this? Just be quiet for a bit, Mort. I want to listen for now. He speaks in a very low, somber tone. Today I shall speak of the power of alignment and belief and how they shape the planes. First, I shall explain the concept of alignment. Alignment is a descriptor of one's beliefs and how one acts upon those beliefs. At their core, all creatures predominantly behave in one of 3 ways. With good in their hearts, with evil in their heart, or indifference or neutrality in their heart. They predominantly express each of these core behaviors in one of 3 different ways. In an ordered manner, in a chaotic manner, or in an indifferent, neutral manner. Thus, there are 9 core alignments that one is capable of. But what if you're playing in 4th edition? Shut up! We don't play that edition here. Fair enough. Keep listening. The 9 alignments, then, are lawful good, neutral good, and chaotic good. Lawful neutral, true neutral, and chaotic neutral. And lawful neutral, neutral evil, and chaotic evil. Now I shall speak of the power of alignment and the beliefs it engenders, and how from them the very deities gain strength, and how belief can physically affect one's environment. A deity must have worshippers, for it is the faith of such subjects that gives them power. As converts are made and more come to believe in a god, the more power that god receives. Conversely, when no one believes in a deity, it withers and dies, joining the corpses of other gods that float on the astral plane. It is thus possible to slay a deity by simply forgetting about them. A much more striking example of the power of alignment in belief, however, can be seen within the sliding of gate towns. First, though, I would define gate towns. Gate towns are towns on the Outlands, the largely neutral area which Sigil spins over the center of. They are called gate towns because they are built around a permanent gate or portal to one of the outer planes. Each of these outer planes has its own alignment. The Abyss is chaotic and evil, Bator is lawful and evil, Mechonis is lawful and neutral, Mount Celestia is lawful and good, the Outlands again are true neutral, leaning to neither law or chaos. What about someplace like Eastgard? Shut up, I'm giving the lecture here. Sliding occurs when there is a high concentration of belief in an area of differing belief. When this occurs, the area itself will move or slide to a plane that matches a new belief. Now, the gate towns usually have a strong belief that matches the outer plane beyond the portal, but the belief is not yet strong enough for the town to slide from the Outlands and into the outer plane. For example, the town of Ribcage borders the portal to the lawful evil plane of Bator. As expected, the residents of Ribcage are largely lawful evil residents, but the entire town's alignment and beliefs are not strong enough so that Ribcage will slide into Bator. For example, Ribcage might one day see the sudden rise of a lawful evil order of clerics, promoting their dark beliefs and converting many citizens to the worship of their lawful evil god. Were this to occur, there would be a good chance that the town would slide off of the neutral Outlands, becoming part of the lawful evil plane of Bator. Whole layers of planes may move this way. Thus, many wars are wars of belief and faith by necessity. They are the tools by which territory is obtained and held. This, then, is the power of alignment and belief to shape the planes. This session has ended. May belief guide your actions and shape the planes to your will. Farewell, all of you. What? That's it? No Q&A? It's terrible. I feel ripped off. Alright, can... I hit the wrong button. There we go. I didn't want to attack anything. Let's see, that's all sensates. Oh yeah, it's down in here, isn't it? Fall from Grace decides to take a different route. Gis the Crooked. This squat, hunched old man still has the broad shoulders and scarred, calloused hands of a worker or warrior. An aura of weary despair seems to hang about him. He appears to be giving a lecture at the moment. Let's stay for the lecture. Right, now, listen up. This is a seminar on the war. If you're here to listen about the blood war, take root. If you're not, you're in the wrong. You're in the wrong hall, and you'd best ump your soft, comfort-loving Sigilian number stemps out of here. Limber stemps. Okay. The Blood War, more boring than listening to a governor recite laws. Let's go find some young sensates who need to be indoctrinated in the ways of passion. He waggles his eyebrows in anticipation. No more, I want to hear this. The man suddenly throws a dark eye over the audience, as if looking for something. And further, if you're Tenari or Betazu, up your scaly hides out the door. I's not letting you honorary bastards bend an ear to this and then listen to your balmy arguments. Fall from Grace, you have a issue here? Nah, I'm good. Alright, fair enough. Cause this is no discussion on who's right. Behind you, you hear the soft sounds of something large leaving the lecture hall. It just tells the blood war from the human point of view. Yeah, it's not promoting one side or another, because they both stink in different ways. Like, one smells like rotten fish, the other one smells like rotten eggs. Speaker becomes somber. So, what's left of you here wanting to listen to some blood war stories, tales about the war? Here to hear the horror of it all, no doubt. The floating fortresses wove and weaved a human skin, plains-wide battlegrounds, The blood war be fought on. He bares his yellowed teeth. Tails of fiends locking fangs with the other fiends. Gah! His snarl fades and he looks suddenly bored. Well, let me peel back your lids and crack your bone boxes. 'Tis all a steaming heap of balmy nonsense to be dwelling on that forged dung. He spits in derision, rolling his eyes wildly. I'm not cleaning that up. Oh, right, I'm not the janitor anyway, so it's fine. I'll tell you this, though. You can't imagine the scale the blood war is fought on. Nothing you've seen, heard, or participated in, nothing compares. Time, numbers of legions, sheer bloodshed, nothing compares, Burks. Try and imagine it, forget it. My advice? Simple. Stay away from the big bloody mess altogether. The only thing you need to know is this. Fiends are killing fiends. Beta Zoo are slaughtering Tanari, Tanari butchering Beta Zoo right now. He spits again. Neither's winning. Don't think either can win. Biggest stalemate this side of eternity. Thank the powers. Excuse me, sir. The powers actually don't get involved. Shut up, you! That's it, he shrugs. That's it. I'll be answering any questions you got for me now. I'll ask a question. What's your question, Cutter? Can you give me a little bit more on the blood war itself? If I were to boil it down, it'd be this. The blood war's been going on damn near forever, and will keep going on until damn near forever itself gets penned in the dead book. The Tanari, champions of chaos and evil, are trying to stomp the green-colored dung out of the Beta Zoo, the champions of law and evil. They butcher each other over how each of them thinks evil should be, if you can believe that. What do you think would happen if someone stopped the blood war? Can't make any piking difference in the war. It's too sodden big. You're a stone, pebble in an ocean, that's a pebble in another ocean, which is a pebble in another ocean, and so on and so forth, till the stench cows come home. As a pebble, your goal is to not be noticed and sink to the bottom with the rest of the dregs. Go on. If you can make a difference, which you can't, you shouldn't try, because then the planes would tumble on down. Or the planes would tumble down? Why? He holds up his hands like pillars. The blood war's like a big bloody support beam propping up the planes. Kick it down, and a lot of the planes come tumbling down with it. Lots of baggage rests on the back of this war. He suddenly brays like a donkey, laughing bitterly. The biggest, nastiest pack animal on the plains. Go on. He grins cynically. Besides, as some say, war's great for business. He laughs hollowly, then looks as if he could suddenly cry. Never mind that. Another question? Are you all right? You seem pained. Man smiles sadly. Aye. Listen, Cutter, I'm no priest, nor would I want to be one. But hear this. Keep evil out of your heart. When you die with evil in your heart, your spirit falls into the lower planes where you become a petitioner. Go on. Any guesses as to what happens then? Petitioners in the abyss and Bator get twisted into foot soldiers. He gets to fight in the blood war for all eternity. He chuckles, shaking his head. So that's the talk as to why the Beta Zoo and the Tanari try and corrupt all they touch, because they need more troops. Eat this. Keep evil far away from your heart, Burke.
But what if you're not lawful evil or chaotic evil and more neutral evil?
Shut up. I'm not answering that question.
Damn it. What started the blood war?
You got a right to be curious what started this big old sodden soupy mess in the first place. What set the fiends to be locking horns in the first place? Biting and clawing at each other until there was only one reason they were alive. Go on. Simple. They met. He sighs. Tanari and Beta Zoo crossed each other one day, and like two drunken bigots, they set to fighting. That's simple. He frowns. Well, go on. Nah, pike that. Imagine two drunken priests who believe each knows the only way to live. Now make those priests ripped with scales and fangs and horns and a cruel streak 7 leagues wide and put them in an itty-bitty sodden cell. And you've a good idea of the love that can spring forth. And there you have it, the origin of the blood war.
Why are two evil races fighting?
One believed evil should be nice and orderly. One believes evil should be chaos, running rampant across the plains. Both evil, but doesn't mean they can agree on anything. Bad blood. Each wants to exterminate the other, so only their brand of evil remains. They hate each other like... Go on. He wrings his hands together, trying to find the right words. You see, they don't hate like we hate. We don't even know what hate is. We have one word for hate. They have, his voice drops, thousands upon thousands. Their meaning's twisted and piled like bodies. That's why they fight.
Well, let me ask you about something else. How does one get hired into the Blood War?
You know, every once in a while, some leather-headed Burk comes around asking about a job in the Blood War. They want some jink, they want a quick stint, and then to get along with their lives. Perhaps I was one of these leatherheads. Mayhap I was a sellsword and heard there was a little jink to be made in the war. Got me interested.
Go on.
Taught me a lesson, it did. We're like ants running around the heels of dancing sodpike gods. I saw big men who claimed to be big soldiers.
He shakes his head.
Paper soldiers. War's a furnace for them. Makes them wake up or burn.
So how'd you survive the Blood War? The man's face darkens.
Alright. Well, that's the thing I won't speak of, Cutter. Suffice to say, a man does what he has to escape the war.
But a woman named Vrishka told me you had to murder your own men to escape the war.
The man's face becomes red with anger. Watch your mouth, Cutter. That's a lie. Foul, foul lie. Are you balmy, John with a fiend over the war and believing every word of it?
That's what she told me. I didn't say I took it as the truth. Or what happened then?
I'll tell you what happened, Burke.
He sighs and calms down slightly.
I was part of the company of the Blazing Effigy. Part of its original number was 53 mortal mercenaries, so only 9 of us remained. Camped somewhere in Avernus we were, waiting for reinforcements for the next battle.
Go on.
Well, my tour was nearly done then. In fact, I was to leave after that battle. Trouble was, had I died there, I would have been theirs forever. Too much blackness, too much evil in my heart. I would have ended up a petitioner in Bator, an eternal soldier in the war.
He shudders at the thought. What happened?
Me and 2 other lads fled like dogs, that's what happened. We scurried across the plain for a handful of days before we came to this great pillar of living heads. An awful sight it was. They jabbered and hissed at us, calling for us to come closer. That night I stole away from the others and went to talk to the pillar.
And? Gist shuts his eyes for a moment, shuts his eyes and rubs at his temples.
I asked this pillar how I might be freed, how I might escape Bator. But it told me that in exchange for the 2 of my brothers.
He's quiet for a moment, biting on his knuckles as if fighting back tears.
To me, at the time, it was just math.
That's a terrible choice to be forced to make. Still sounds like you murdered them to me. I'll be sympathetic.
He nods. Not sure if I'll forgive myself. Now I'm just a soldier who's looking for a place to die. Trying to erase the stain of evil, cleanse my inner gisses before I die and return to the Blood War. I lecture here to keep people away from it all. To prevent them from ever having to make a choice like that.
I see, but it still sounds like you murdered those 2 to me. I understand, Gissus.
Right, this is the last bit then. Some of you are sensates, so as I got one thing to say to you. Don't sign up to see what the Pike and Blood War is about. Don't be a balmy idiot.
Don't be a bloody idiot. Ah, such a good riff tracks.
Use a sensory stone if you got to know, but stay the L's away from anything to do with the Blood War, for real. 'Tis just not worth it. 'Tis...
For a moment, a look of great pain crosses the man's face. It looks as if he is about going to weep.
Not worth it at all. That's the end of this session, so farewell.
Wait, I'm not done. There were other things to talk about. Stay for the lecture. Let's get back to the questions. Let's ask a question. Alright. Where's the Blood War fought?
Plenty of places, usually lower plains, anywhere along the river Styx, the 9 layers of Bator, the 4 furnaces of Gehenna, the Grey Waste, Cold Red Cossery, Prison Plain, and the Piketeer Endless Well of Evil, that's the Abyss. Somehow the Grey Waste sounds familiar.
Somehow the Grey Waste sounds familiar to you. Also, pretty sure the Blood War is not fought on all 9 players of Bator. In particular, because it's very hard to get to the 9th plane, the 9th layer. Tell me about the Grey Waste.
also called the Glooms.
Or Hades?
You're clueless.
He shrugs and shivers, as if by reflex.
Gray in every sense of the word. Colors burn your eyes there. They shout, are too loud. Your dreams are pulled to the surface and poured on the ground, lost forever. Only the night hags rule there, the gray ladies of the waste.
What about the places where the gods rule?
Well, they don't really count.
Alright, fair enough. Let me ask you about something else. How does one survive the Blood War?
You want to know how to survive the Blood War? 3 things, Cutter.
He holds up a maimed hand with only 2 fingers.
Go on. First off, you stay the pike out of it. Secondly, keep yourself the pike and nails out of it. And lastly, you stay the bloody pike and sod pike out of it. Go on. If any part of the war rolls your way, let your imagination give your bum a kick and run as far as and fast as you can. If you can't run, then lies really still and pray it passes you by. He pauses for a moment. Except there's no place don't touch and there's almost nowhere you can run to get away from it.
If there's nowhere to run, why aren't there fiends fighting in Sigil?
Oh, now, Cutter, look. They have fought here a few times. Sometimes we get a little spillover from the Blood War. A Lady of Pain, bless her steel-ridden heart, puts out the fires.
Go on.
Some of the time.
He sneers.
There's been times, some horrifying drizzle on yourself. You're so sodden scared times, when they've smashed and burned and clawed their way through the whole sodden city blocks in Sigil before she decides to clean house.
He clucks his tongue and winks cynically.
So she ain't always as keen on stopping the Blood War as it might seem, see?
Why don't the fiends just take Sigil? He laughs, but it turns into a sputtering cough.
Don't get me wrong now. Both the Tenari and the Beta Zoo want Sigil fierce. 'Tis the most precious staging ground in the Pike and multiverse. The cage is the city of doors and connects everywhere. You can't ignore it, and if you're serving in the Blood War and want to win, you gotta have it.
Go on. Man coughs again.
'Tis just the fiends aren't gonna get it while the lady's in charge, 'tis all. She's tough as nails, her blades will cut you deeper than any fiend's fang. And that knots the fiend's stems like you wouldn't believe. One quiet lady, and her hands tucked up her sleeves, holding back the Blood War all by herself.
He laughs bitterly. I don't find it hard to believe that a woman can stop the Blood War. But fiends are still allowed in Sigil?
Oh, damnably certain. They can't brawl in the streets too much. So as neutral ground, Sigil allows them to rattle their bone boxes without trying to murder each other. Sometimes they'll chat it up with each other here. The peace don't stay that way for long, though.
Go on.
Also, just because they can't butcher each other in the streets doesn't mean spies, recruitment, and backstabbing don't still go on here. They fight battles with lies and words, Burke. Sometimes dissolve the bluster and blather. And there's safe houses about, too. Places where they can cool their talons before the next skirmish.
Go on.
And they like to recruit here, too. Looking for boys fresh off the plains with a little greed in their hearts. And they can make part of their glorious army.
He stops speaking to peer closely at you.
Mayhap they recruited you once, eh, Gutter? You look like you tasted the war.
I doubt it, or perhaps. Let's go with perhaps.
The war leaves a scar on you, Cutter. You'd know. And you know you never want to go back.
Your temples begin to throb painfully as you consider the man's words. A memory begins to surface. Let's try and recall the memory. Yay, experience points! The lecture hall begins to fade from view as terrible visions begin to seep up from the base of your mind. Visions of a place where seasons are like nothing you've ever felt, or heard, or tried to shut out. A place where prayers go unheard, falling like stones to the earth. Vein-colored lightning flashes across the sky, across things that were once sky, but now boil beneath your feet and scream when you brush against them. You run at the head of a large band of men, passing through dark canyons where the walls quiver mostly and beat like a heart, wearing only your own blood as clothing. At last you stand in a place where the ashen gray terrain slithers like a mass of snakes, coiling around your ankles and whispering your evil to the earth. You march endlessly, silently through this colorless land, where fatigue seems to live and hunt you like shade over the wastes, whipping you with despair. In time, you and the ragged men who follow you come upon a hag sitting upon a mound of gigantic, writhing larvae, poking at one of the slime-covered things with a broken talon. You indicate for one of the men to run forward and speak with her. The hag's grating voice carries to your ears. I would speak with him, she said, then cackled. Her eyes gleam as she points you out to the man. The handsome one that leads your ragged column. I would speak with him. That is all you can recall.
Cutter, you feeling all right there?
Yes, I'm fine. So, do the fiends recruit often? He nods grimly.
You can be sure of that. Sigil's the best source of fodder on the plains. Beats milking planets of all their prime inhabitants. Too much work.
So, any more advice on surviving the war?
Aye, whatever you does, don't talk about the blood war with any fiend. Or any diva or archon for that matter. Just don't talk about it, period. Because you never know who in the elves you're really chatting with. And all of them get mighty touchy when you bring it up. When you bring up the war. It's the reason for living.
Anything else?
He nods. Don't go through any portal unless you're probably sure you know where it goes. Maybe you haven't heard tales of clueless planewalkers stepping through a portal and ending up smack dab in the middle of the blood war skirmish. Know why you haven't heard of them? Because those swords are dead, dead, dead.
Anything else?
And whatever you does, never sign on for a tour of duty, no matter how much jink they flash in your mug. Certain death and signing on for a tour in the blood war, the same thing, Cutter.
And why is that?
Chances are when you sign up, they peel you, so your tour of duty is till time itself grinds to a halt. Even death wouldn't be a release, because then you sink into the lower planes and get dredged back up as something worse than you were before. Then they got the talons in you for all eternity.
How would you get out of a tour contract?
Unless they didn't want you, you haven't had much chance. I never heard of it being done with mean-spirited recruits, or somebody they really wanted to keep their talons on. Outwitting a Tenari is risky, but can be done. The Beta Zoo are much more dangerous with their contracts. You sign one of those, you're damned for life.
Go on.
You might try a little garnish. Try to daub them, and they might let you make a run for it. But where would you go? There's so many L's.
And dying in the blood war would be an especially bad thing?
If you're evil, sure. If you're good, you go to some other plane to spend your afterlife. But you'd still be a debtor. Now for me, I still got a lot of evil to wash off me soul. So if I died in the lower planes, I would have had me lock, stock, and barrel.
You go to I'm not going to have him explain that, because we already know. Let me ask you about something else. Describe the Tenari.
The man nods. The Tenari pay better than the Beta Zoo, but you need to be 2 or 3 faced and have a bunch of eyes sprinkled all over your body, because you can't ever turn your back on them. They're chaos, the ones with women whimsy in their hearts. Trust or upholding their words aren't high on their list.
Go on. He sniffs and shrugs.
I don't care what happens, so long as something happens that is evil. Mostly they attack the Beta Zoo to keep from killing each other.
Let me ask you about something else. Describe the Beta Zoo.
The man nods. They don't usually pay as much as the Tenari, but they don't break their written word. They're smart, though. Several hundredfold smarter, and they've been making contracts since time began. They know how to peel someone with words. They do. Sign, and most likely you'll be peeled and hung to dry on their legions.
Go on.
They plan like bastards. They put more thought and preparation into a single strategic skirmish than most human armies devote to an entire campaign.
He sniffs and scratches at his chin.
They usually assemble their forces on Avernus, the first layer of Bator.
What's Avernus like?
Avernus?
Man grimaces as if recalling the place caused physical anguish.
'Tis inhabited by the damned and those that prey on the damned. The red-flecked lands of noxious sands and blistering fires that scream across the landscape. That was my taste of Bator, the lair of Avernus. Terrible place.
What sort of forces serve in the Blood War?
All sorts, aside from various mortal burks from across the plains. Abishai and Cornigons, Lemiras and Nuperabo, Succubi, list goes on and on.
Not entirely sure that the Succubi do a whole lot with the Blood War. Tell me about the Abishai.
They're the grunts in most Beta Zoo armies. They're different sorts, with black-scaled ones being the weakest and most common.
What sorts of forces serve... I thought it went in the opposite of dragon colors, where the weakest dragon color would be the strongest Abishai. Am I misremembering? I want to check this now. Talk amongst yourselves while I check this. I mean, that said, first edition had all 5 colors, whereas second edition dropped 2 of them for some reason. Nope. Nope, I'm misremembering. Alright. Blacks are the weakest. That's right. Alright. What am I thinking of then? Yeah, whatever. Tell me about the Cornigons.
Cornigons are dead odd, Cutter. It's rare to see more than a few of them together, though sometimes they form bands of elite troops. Usually they lead lesser forces like Abishai and mortal mercenaries into battle.
What about Lemures?
Lemures are these things that look like melted people. Annoying little sods that regenerate even as you're killing them. They're oblivious to danger or pain, and so they'll never run away from a fight. Mostly good for dying on the front lines, not much else.
And New Parabo?
Fat little pikers that have these tiny, tiny heads. Deaf, dumb, and blind, but they exist to die on the front line. Hard to kill, too. Even the most wee bit of them will grow back to a whole one if you let it.
And what else? What about Succubi?
Janari, lovely but dead evil they are. They seduce mortals and try to drag them into the abyss.
He nods to Fall from Grace.
No offense, milady.
None taken, you are quite correct. And that's about it. So you'll tell us no tales of the Blood War?
Alright, 1. Let me tell you of an example of what meat means to them. They'll get some mean-spirited mortal mercenaries together, maybe drop a few million strong on, and let them slaughter each other for no real reason at all. Pointless battle over some power's forsaken piece of land. Guess where all those souls go?
What? No option to guess that they go to the plane itself?
The souls sink into the planes of evil they fight on, where they can be ripped from the soup of the plane, set to fight again as lemures or mains or whatever the pike and sod those little fiendish dung heaps become. The more of those sodden petitioners they get, the more troops they have.
Let me ask you about something else. That's about it. No questions, actually. Alright. And that's about it. So, when we return, I guess we're going to go try to find the sensation stone thingies whose name I'm forgetting right now, and see if that will give us any more clues on furthering our quest. See you next time, everyone.